slow. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Angels City Council meeting for Tuesday, December 6, 2016. Will you please all stand and join us in the pledge to the flag? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to report that earlier this evening, we had a closed session, and I also want to report out of a closed session that we had November 15th. And in that session, the subject matter was performance evaluation of our city administrator, and at that time, direction was given to the city attorney. And then, like I said earlier this evening, we had two closed sessions. The first being conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation. And again, in the report on that item is direction was given to the city attorney. The second item was a continued performance evaluation of our city administrator, and I'm pleased to report that that evaluation is now completed. The next item is the approval of the agenda. First of all, is there anyone on the council that wishes to amend the agenda in any way? Seeing none. Is there anyone in the audience that would request that the agenda be amended in any way? If seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Behill, seconded by Councilwoman Morris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved unanimously. The next item is staff reports. We have a detailed consolidated staff report. Is there any questions of anybody on the council to staff or make a comment on the content of the report?
I'll just make a comment. It's kind of depressing to read about the issues with regard to behavioral health issues that the PD has had to face. And I know that they're aggressively dealing with that, and hopefully that can be brought under control or managed as best we can.
Any other council comments? Okay. Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on anything contained in the consolidated staff report? Seeing none, we will then move on to council updates, and I will begin on my right with Vice Mayor Pollendo.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
Saban?
Okay, on the 20th, I attended the Medicine in the Gold Rush reception. It was held at the museum, quite an impressive display. On the 21st, I attended the LAFCO meeting. At that meeting, they have reviewed and approved a comment letter to be sent in to the Planning Commission concerning the community planning and safety elements. They also approved the 2017 regular meeting schedule. And by the way, the December LAFCO meeting has been canceled. Then those who attended the Cal LAFCO conference discussed what they obtained or what they felt was important information discussed at that meeting. Then on the 26th, I participated in the Christmas parade. On the 30th, there was a UWPA gathering to kind of thank all of those who participated in the outage that was just completed. That was it.
No report.
I likewise have nothing to report. I did want to just make a comment to formally welcome back Councilman Behill from his absence due to a medical emergency. We are so pleased everything went well, and
Thank you.
welcome back.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Now is a portion of the meeting that is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda. State law prohibits the city council from acting upon matters not listed on the agenda, and matters raised by the public will automatically be referred to staff or placed on a future council meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the council at this time? Please come to the podium, if you would.
Good evening, Council. My name is Debbie Ponte, also known as Stella McGuire, who you'll hear about a little later. But first and foremost, I would like to just say thank you to our outgoing council members, Bert and Wes and Elaine. Thank you very much for your service to our community, City of Angels. You'll be missed, but I know you're going to enjoy the time off and the pleasure to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else wish to address the council under this agenda item? If not, we will then move forward with the next item, which is our future business presentation. And at this time, we will hear from Ann Forrest on the subject of the Mark Twain Wild West Fest recap.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and council and city staff. We are delighted to be here tonight, and we hope add a little bit of humor and fun to your otherwise staid city council meetings, and end the year on a good note. I would like, before I get started, to introduce some of your audience and members of our Mark Twain Wild West Fest committee. And many of you know Pat Conard, also Mark Twain, who is a vital component in just this whole idea and music and all of that, and we really appreciate his being here. Candy Myers is president of the Business Association, but she was also a member of the committee and handled a lot of the beverage vendors and the support that we needed for that. Susan Rudolph was on our committee and did a lot of work in getting the notices out about no parking and bringing in volunteers. Chris Butner came in to handle public relations, ended up doing the website on top of all of that, is our general steampunk costume expert and handled the whole arrangement of the entertainment, which I'll talk about later. You've just met Debbie Ponte, otherwise known as Stella McGuire, who was instrumental, really co-chaired all of this, bringing in numerous volunteers as well as sponsors and selling a lot of raffle tickets. Next to her is Jim Fletcher, who really kind of gave birth to this whole thing when he started working on the 88 Days in the Motherlode and developed his book. And by sitting on the Gold Rush Committee for the last couple years, he kept pushing Mark Twain, Mark Twain, Mark Twain, and so now we have a festive. And behind Stella is Jessica Johnson, who handled logistics and vendors and all sorts of things. And Jason was a member of the committee too, but I'm not sure what you did. You're new. Okay, good. But and we had a committee of 34 that met, as Bert was also on the committee, and many others who couldn't be here tonight. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what was new this year. I know that most of you were down there for the day. But first of all, we changed the name, and I think when I came to you in January, I said it was going to be called the Mark Twain Festival, and a lot of people were like, what's a Mark Twain Festival? And so somewhere in June, we had a brainstorming session and started fooling around. Loved the Wild West idea. And then we have to give credit to Lisa Bolton, who shortened it and called it the Wild West Fest. We looked it up, and no one has reserved that name. And so as soon as we renamed the event, we got volunteers just came out of the woodwork. People were really excited about it. And they said, yes, now this is something that we can really buy into. So we also did the Gold Nugget Raffle. That was to help bring in some extra money. And that went over well. And again, all of this got started late this year. So we expect things to really grow next year. We made that decision to do the Mark Twain era and do everything in the 1860s, 70s, and 80s, and really work on making it fully immersive. So the music, the entertainment, and obviously the costumes. And we encourage the costumes, anything from Gold Rush to Wild West to steampunk to Edwardian, and everything in between. We then also expanded the Gold Rush Village. We've had it, but it's been small. This year, if you were there, you've noticed there were lots and lots of games. We lost about, because of the rain that weekend, we lost about 5 of the activities that we had in the Gold Rush Village because either their materials wouldn't stand up to rain or they had a lot of children involved and that sort of thing. One of the best parts of that was the fence painting. Becky Thatcher and Tom Sawyer were there to help kids paint fence a la Mark Twain, and that went over very well. We also did an after party in the park, and the reason for doing that was because we had only one restaurant downtown and one bar, and we were usually after events people pour into the restaurants and evening entertainment, so we thought we would expand the evening and give people some place to go after 5 o'clock. That didn't work out so well, mainly because of the weather. We had a website this year, a full website, and I hope that you've seen it. Excuse me. We'll be putting up a lot of the pictures and the video from the event, but in the past we've just had a page on the Angels Camp Business Association website, and this is something that we're really proud of. We also did a lot of work on Facebook, that was new, and did advertising on Facebook. And then this year, for the first time, we had a Writers Roundup Literary Festival that the Manzanita Writers Press developed, and that was supposed to be on Friday and Sunday. Sunday got rained out. It was supposed to be at the museum, and the museum didn't have its heat. But Friday was sold out, and we hope eventually that this will become a multi-day festival with the literary part and then the other activities. And we are sort of look as our example to the Cowboy Poetry Gathering in Elko, Nevada that started out 25 years ago with a weekend, and now it's an entire week, and people come from all over the world. And so we have high hopes that maybe 10 years or so you'll start to see this really, really expand. Also new this year, and I hope you've all had a chance to see them, take a walk downtown. We have developed so far 15. We have the 16th in production. These posters of Mark, the story of Mark. There you go. And there will be 16 different vignettes, facets of Mark Twain's 88 Days here, and the spin-off. So this one talks about the first Jumping Frog Jubilee. That one talks about the tradition of the clotheslines downtown, and the last one that will be done in the next couple of weeks is the history of the statue of Mark Twain in the park. So I really encourage you. This started out as just filling empty windows downtown. Again, Jim Fletcher was really pushing this, and with Monica Rose at the Manzanita Arts Emporium. So please take a look at these. And and I noticed that a lot of people are walking up and down Main Street and looking at them. We had 16 sponsors. That was a separate project. So soon it will be done, and each sponsor will get a poster this size of their own for posterity. Now, some of the statistics. We had between 3,000 and 4,000 people. If you remember, it was raining very heavily Friday night, and it rained up until 5 minutes, drizzle up to 5 minutes to 10 when it started. And it held off until about 6:30, and then really started to bucket about 8:30. But we still really had a good number of people. It probably kept our attendance down to maybe 50% of what we had expected. We had 95 vendors. About 10 of them did not show that day because of rain, but they paid their fees. And we had over 100 volunteers, not only this organizing group, but people from all over the county came to work that day, and we had people working the whole week of the event. And then we had 50-plus sponsors, cash donations, in-kind donations, and other types of things like that. And then this will give you an idea of some of our major sponsors, and we were very, very appreciative. Debbie Ponte and Becky Thornburg-Raggio were in charge of this, and they have already started reaching out to the business community and beyond the Angels Camp business community for 2017 sponsors. On the wildwestfest.com website, we had, in that period of time up to the event, over 5,300 people that clicked on and went onto the website. Of those, 433 came from people who were interested on Facebook and then clicked through to the website to get information. One of the busiest pages was the traffic road closure announcement, so I know Caltrans will be happy to know that we promoted that. On Facebook, we reached over 40,000 different people. Almost 6,000 got engaged. In other words, they got into Facebook and read through. We have almost 1,000 likes, which means that they are getting updates and everything on Facebook. And then in that, we got a 4.4 out of 5 event rating on Facebook. I'm very pleased with that. We also did paid advertising. Many of you may have heard the ads went for 3 weeks on Capital Public Radio, which has a reach from Reading, east of Reno, all the way down to Fresno and throughout the valley. Local papers, and then we had the free PSAs. We had several interviews on our local TV and as well as print, lots of print. And from results, I think okay. Well, I'm missing something. We're out of order? Oh, no, what worked well? I'm out of order, not the slides. Well, as you know, we had 5 nationally known musical acts, which is absolutely amazing for a free concert. The 5th one was donated by Tamara Green here. She brought Ernie Seitz out from Idaho and for the weekend. The other thing that worked very well, and this was thanks to Chris and his experience with music festivals, is that we had 3 stages all set up with professional sound. It was all set to go, and the acts rotated among the stages. So 3 would perform, and at the end of the hour, they would switch, and so we had 2 resting and 3 playing, and that went on all day. And that really worked well because they were visitors, and the attendees could actually get to see all the acts and didn't have to stay at one stage. The Kit Carson Mountain Men and their performance area, that was very, very much enjoyed, and they, of course, wandered around and added to the ambiance. And then the Saloon Girls were an extra hit. We got a lot of good response. They did a couple shows, and then they just interacted with the mostly the men in the street, and it was fun to watch their expressions. And then we also this year put in a street-wide sound system so that we could announce what was going on in throughout, and that worked well. And then we held that over, and they had that for the Christmas parade too, which worked well. The Gold Rush Village, and then the Gold Nugget Raffle. In the raffle, Debbie and Sandy Hagel pulled together 6 additional raffle prizes, and they were all sort of staycations, vacation in Angels Camp things to do, with the idea that we would bring people back to Angels Camp. 3 of those packages went to people in the county, and 3 went to people outside of the county and outside the state. And we were happy to say that the Gold Nugget was won by a woman here in Angels Camp, Ann Richardson. So that was good to have it stay here. Now, I think, we've talked about this, and we think that now we've set it up for Angels Camp to have an event that it should really be proud of, and one that's, this immersive experience about Angels Camp. It's certainly from the people we've drawn from the community that have volunteered to help and to be on the organizing committee for next year. They're coming from multi-generational families here from Angels Camp in the area, and they really see this as a source of pride and a way to really put Angels Camp on the map in this regard. So I think that's something that that will ensure the continuity, and I feel really good about, because it has been a 5-year slog to get it to this point, and I think again it'll be a multi-day event. That's all well and good. Everybody had a good time and everything, but what's it doing for Angels Camp besides putting us on the map for a day? We checked the area hotels. They had a 98% occupancy rate, not only here in Angels Camp, but Murphy's and outside of Angels Camp. That means increased TOT for that weekend. It was also a prime sales day for our downtown merchants, which we believe will translate into increased sales tax. These are some quotes. We have more, but Barb Ziegenfuss, who owns Prestige Gallery, said we did well. More importantly, people came back to buy later, especially people from Angels Camp who never come downtown and didn't even know they were there. And usually the people that come in and say, "Oh, I didn't know you were here," are people who live in Angels Camp. She said, "I'm so thankful to have the Wild West Fest, the Christmas parade, and the sidewalk sales, because those are her best days." Jennifer Gillig, who owns Angels Creek Cafe, said we were slammed all day, and they did a special breakfast so that they could get people in and out. Susan Juarez, who is Shirley Becker's daughter at Nellie Lou's Antiques, had said it was one of our best days sales-wise, and then people come back later because they couldn't carry stuff through the crowd into their car that day. Monica Rose said from Manzanita Arts Emporium that they were surprised. A visiting author sold all of his books, more than at any other fair this year. And other authors said they sold 3 times as many books as they had 2 weeks before at the Grape Stomp or at the Manteca Book Fair. And then her Writers Roundup was sold out for Friday, so they were very pleased. Chris from Sugar Bakery said it was her second best day since her opening day. Sales were double what her usual good day is, and she was really, really busy that day, obviously. And then Jim Turner had the next day said it was the store's best day for 2016 so far. He's hoping he'll have a better day before Christmas, but they had wall-to-wall people all day. Of course, we played to, if you're Turner's Wild West and you're having a Wild West Fest, you've got to have a good day. We want to thank you for your support and to say that the money that you allowed us to keep to bring forward helped pay the traffic control, transportation, public toilets, insurance, the website construction, and some of the Facebook advertising. And then remember, we had to go back to ground zero and start all over again with our branded materials, the banners and the signs and that. And the fact that it was a free event for residents and visitors alike. And then looking to October 21st, 2017, and Mary's putting it in her calendar. These are the things that we've decided already, and I should start at the bottom. We now have a smaller organizing committee, a steering committee. They are meeting monthly right now, and then each one of those people on that committee has agreed to be in charge of a facet of the event for next year. And they are getting their own committees, and they will be meeting on a monthly basis and then reporting back at the steering committee. So we will not have a crowd of 34 dealing with where the commas and the periods go in a press release. We are going to keep the event focused in the downtown area. We are not going to do anything in the park until we get so big that we have to. We're revising the bus routes and the stops, and that will actually help save us some money. We're increasing the vendor fees for new vendors this year. But we're waiting for the committee to come back on that. But we have someone in charge of food and beverage and someone in charge of crafts and other items. We're going to keep the themed music and entertainment. We're going to make better use of the space in the downtown area. And right now, those are the key areas that we're focusing on. We're also going to cut the budget significantly because we now have more volunteers, and we've learned a few things this year. And of course, we've already built now all the banners and the signage and everything. And finally, we want to thank you. The Angels Camp Police and the fire were terrific. They're there in support, and I know because of some signage issues up at the north part of 49 that the police manning the barricade at Utica Park had more work than they really wanted to have, but they kept their sense of humor, and we really appreciated that. Public Works that day had to bring a bucket truck down because the wind gust tore the banner across the street and it was flapping, but they helped with the cleanup and all sorts of things, and we appreciate that. And of course, Mary and everyone at the administration for their help. Our organizing committee, our volunteers, and our sponsors, and to you all for your financial support. We couldn't have done it without you. So if you have any questions, we'll try to answer them.
No, I'd like to make a comment. And things like this don't just happen. You take a coordinator, and you did a marvelous job of keeping everything moving.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to say it was a really good committee to work with. And as Bert knows from coming to the meetings, there were sometimes more ideas than actions, but it was a very enthusiastic crowd.
Yeah, I would only add, it seems very obvious that you're zeroing in on a real formula for success now. After 5 years of attempting to do different variations, I think you really are on the right track.
Yeah.
And we also thank everybody in the organizing committee, all of the volunteers. We all recognize these things don't just happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Any questions?
Any other comments?
Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay, the next item on the agenda is presentations to outgoing council people.
Why?
Pardon?
Well, it's on the agenda, you didn't change it.
Mayor and members of the council, members of our community. It's been over 5 years since I've been your city administrator, and I was just doing a quick tally, and over that 5 years, we've had 14 different council members at the dais over that 5-year period. And as I was doing the math, I was surprised at that number. But there's some constants to that, and I'll get to that as I move through this. Some of you know that I'm a movie buff, and then when I have a microphone in front of me, I'm going to probably quote a movie. In this one, or in this case, it's going to be a movie that's 32 years old, and it involves an actor, Kevin Bacon, who played the role of Ren McCormick, and that movie was Footloose. And Ren McCormick actually stood before the council, much like I am right now, but he was looking for a dance. And while I'm not looking for a dance, I am looking to do a celebration. As he said in his speech to the council, Ecclesiastes assures us that there's a time for every purpose under heaven, a time to laugh, a time to weep, a time to mourn, and there's a time to dance. And for Angels Camp, there's a time for change. And while, unlike Ren, I may not be up here trying to change a law, but I am up here to celebrate those who did change some laws, who did protect our city, who did enhance our way of life, and who did make Angels Camp a better place to live, work, and play, and that is worthy of recognition and celebration. So the first recognition goes to Councilmember Bert Saban. Bert has been a constant council member, consistently there for us since 2013. He's instrumental in protecting our water supply, having served on the Utica Water and Power Authority, very supportive of economic development and public safety, and served the role of communicating news of the Landscape Lighting District to the Greenhorn Creek Greens Committee, which is probably one of the toughest jobs that he had. So with that, Mary, if you could give Bert his recognition. And there's many, many other things that these council members did, but these are just some of the key areas that they serve. So Bert, thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Next is our current mayor, Wes Coulm. Wes has been on the council since 2013. Wes and Bert came on at the same time. And Wes has served as the mayor of Angels Camp since January of 2015. Wes has been instrumental in the development and the growth of Destination Angels Camp. In addition, he has served on the COG board and was instrumental in bringing projects and programs that have improved our circulation element and economic growth both now and in the future. And for that, Wes, we thank you. Now for the one constant in my 5.5 years. The one remaining council member that interviewed me that allowed me to, luckily enough, be in this position today, as I like to recognize Elaine Morris. Elaine hired me again in 2011. Talk about lots of time and change over that period. Again, 14 council members in 5 years. Elaine first served this community as a planning commissioner from 2005 through 2008. and as Dave Hannum could tell you, was instrumental in the development of our current general plan. Elaine served as council member since 2009 and was mayor of Angels Camp from 2013 to 2014. She was a great protector of the city budget, a strong supporter of public safety, a constant reminder of the general plan requirements, and strong advocate of proper planning and development. And Elaine, we thank you so much for your service. And as I said earlier, there's a time for every purpose under heaven, and the three of you showed through your time and efforts that your purpose was to ensure that Angels Camp is and remains a great place to call home, and this community owes you a great debt of gratitude, and I personally thank you for your service to this community, so thank you all.
I would ask Bert, Elaine, either of you wish to make a comment?
I would just like to say that it's been a pleasure serving with the council and staff of the city. And it's also been a pleasure, and I'm so happy that the residents allowed me to serve 8 years on the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, obviously, with no background of any kind in this sort of activity, my first period of time with the council was a learning curve. And most of that involved preparation. It took a lot of time. And hopefully, when I did make a decision, it was in concert with the citizens and those who were interested in the same thing that I was. And I think, like Elaine, all the support that I got.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to make a couple of comments as well. 4 years ago, I really struggled with the idea of stepping forward and getting back involved in local government, and I'm pleased to say I'm so glad I did. This has really been a wonderful experience, very gratifying experience, and I'm glad that we were able to be part of shaping Angels Camp's future. And I gave some thought about, what did we really do in these last 4 years? And I think maybe it can best, in my opinion, can characterize this council as a council that planned for Angels Camp's future and prepared Angels Camp to embrace growth as it comes. Some of the things that I think we should be very proud of is the adoption of a water and wastewater master plan that will help guide infrastructure growth here in the city. We've made some zoning changes to make the zoning code more reflective of the general plan to streamline growth in the future. We've adopted an ordinance to save and preserve our urban forest as development occurs. We've adopted a Angels Creek master plan and is now well on its way to funding and design of that. We've developed a master plan for the western and northern entrances to our city, both transportation and land use master plan, and we have a similar master plan that's underway guiding the streetscape for our main Highway 49 corridor through downtown. And so I think because of our efforts here on the council, I think this city is in a better place over the next 4 years to accommodate the growth. And I wanted to make one comment about our city administrator. Michael has served this city and continues to serve this city so well, so remarkable. And I think back when Michael first joined the city, before I was on the council, this city government had some real issues. And if you look over the 7 functional departments, along with our city attorney's position, Michael has been either directly or indirectly involved in recruiting, selecting, and placing 5 of those 8 departments in place. A majority of our city leadership, our department heads, have changed, and through Michael's recruitment and training, we have a very, very well qualified and excellent staff, and I thank each of you, Dave Hannum, Dave Meyer, Julie McManus, Kim Arth, Chief Fordall, Fire Chief John, who am I missing? And of course, Mary, our Administrative Services Director, and then, of course, you, Derek, as our city attorney. And Michael, I think you need to take a great deal of pride in that you were instrumental in putting these people in place.
Thank you.
So it's been a wonderful 4 years, and thank you so much, and best of luck to Amanda and Scott and Susan's in the room with us tonight. You have challenges ahead, but I am very confident that you will do just fine. Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. We have one item on that agenda, approval of the regular meeting minutes for November 15th. Is there any corrections or comments on those minutes from the council? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to make a comment on a consent agenda item A? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Saban, seconded by Vice Mayor Fallendorf. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
And one abstention. 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Okay. Moving on to our regular agenda. The first item is introduction of ordinance number 479, amending chapter 15.04 of the City of Angels Municipal Code. And our building inspector, Mr. Flagg. Our chief building official.
Thanks, Les. This is what we do every 3 years. There's a new code cycle. We started, I started in 2009, 2013, and now 2016. The state mandates that we adopt the codes, and because I'm the enforcement arm of the state building codes. So, any questions?
Any questions or comment by council?
So there's really no substantial changes to our codes, just updating the,
You know, there are changes, but nothing really substantial, not like there has been in the past. There are changes, and the state comes out with a book that kind of outlines the basic changes, and I make sure they're on premise at our department, so anybody wants to take a look at them, they can.
Any members of the public have any comments or questions for Mr. Flagg? Seeing none, we will entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 479.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Moved by Councilwoman Morris, seconded by Councilman Saban. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
The second and only remaining item on the agenda is adoption of resolution number 16-42, amending the annual budget for the purchase of replacement police vehicles and disposal of surplus city vehicles. Is there a police chief? Chief Fordall?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. So, it's to summarize the report that you have in front of you. Basically, this current fiscal year, council approved the purchase of a new vehicle that was going to replace one of the older vehicles in our police fleet. Since that time, there's been a couple of things that have happened. One of the vehicles, I was involved in a collision on duty that ended up totaling one of the vehicles, and then one of the other vehicles that was an older vehicle in our fleet recently broke down. So through an unfortunate set of circumstances, and if the budget amendment can be approved, we have an opportunity to replace one of those older vehicles, which are the one that needs repairs. It's about 10 years old now, and it's got 120,000 miles on it, and basically it's falling apart. So right now it's got a blown head gasket, among other things, and the estimate that we have to fix it is about $3,000. So we can take these $10,000 if we can get it approved, pay that towards the deductible on the totaled car, and in return, RMA will then replace that with a brand new vehicle. So if you have any questions about the report or any other things I've talked about, I'm happy to answer those.
Any council questions? No?
No.
So the broken down vehicle is already budgeted for? And then, so we're looking for the replacement vehicle for the one that's...
Yeah, we knew that we were headed that way. We were trying to keep it going for as long as we could, and my vehicle, unfortunately, like I said, got in the accident, so that's where that...
Sure.
The deductible and the money that RMA will replace it with will come from.
Okay. Well, it seems like the obvious thing to do, in my opinion. Is there any member of the audience that wishes to comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, then we will entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 16-42, which would be a resolution amending the annual budget for 2016-17 fiscal year for police vehicle replacement and authorize the surplus of 2 police vehicles. Is there a motion?
I'll move that.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Behill, seconded by Vice Mayor Ollendorf. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimous as well. So that brings us to the conclusion of what will most likely be our 2016 City Council meetings.
Before we do the calendar, may I make a comment since we rushed into the agenda? Can I do that?
Sure.
Okay. I just wanted to say to the 3 of you, it's been an honor to serve with you all. And I want to thank you for your patience the last 2 years and also your guidance. And I hope that I can bring forth the wisdom that you have passed down into the next 2 years coming forward. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Lynn.
If I can I jump in on that?
Sure.
It has been an honor working with the 3 of you. I think I've worked with all 3 of you in the nearly 4 years I've been city attorney, and I will really miss you. You are very pragmatic, conscientious people, and it is nice. I get to sort of go around the state with my municipal practice and watch how other cities and counties work, and I think, the people in this community are really blessed to have had the 3 of you, because I think you really do care, and you really put in a lot of effort, and you don't get paid or compensated really anything for the amount of time you spend. So I commend all of you, and it's been my pleasure, and I hope we'll be in touch in some capacity.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will then review the calendar for the remaining portion of the month.
Tomorrow, although it's not on your calendar, is a COG meeting. It should have been on there at 5:30, Board of Supervisors Chambers. Thursday, the 8th, is at 6 p.m. is the Planning Commission at the Firehouse. Friday is the employee luncheon. I think Bert's going to be there. On the 13th is UWPA at 5:30. On the 15th at 8:30 is the Museum Commission meeting. LAFCO has been canceled on Monday, the 19th. And I'm not sure about the 20th. We have two council members missing. It's just going to be sort of if we will be back or not. I'm thinking not, but I'm not the one that can say that, so.
All
But
right.
just, and that's, I think that's all I have.
All right, very good. Well, with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Behill, seconded by Councilwoman Morris. All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.